welcome to another episode of Aussie Box Office Charts. For weekend 16 of 2025, I am your host, Alan Gamble, so let's get right on into it. A Minecraft movie continues to dominate, with holding top position with another $5.9 million after 3 weeks of release, dropping another 43% as school holidays start to wrap up, for a current total of $43 million. More on that one a little bit later. Sinners opens in number 2 from Ryan Coogler, his lowest opening movie in Australia, but his other movies were all big franchise movies like Creed from Rocky and Black Panther. But taking second spot with $1.3 million for a current total of 1.3. Dogman holds well with another $912,000 after 3 weeks of release, dropping just another 18% with a current total of $6.1 million. The Amateur also holds reasonably well after 2 weeks of release, dropping just 36% with another $800,000 for a current total of $2.5 million. Warfare opens in number 5 with $590,000 as Alex Garland's second highest opening weekend, only behind Civil War from last year. Both Men and Ex Machina only opened in 30 and 9 screens respectively. We'll check out that one a little bit later too. Moving straight on to 6 through 10, Drop enters the charts at number 6 with $485,000 for a current total of $533,000. Disney's Snow White takes 7th spot with another $388,000 after 5 weeks of release, dropping another 31% for a current total of $8.1 million. King of Kings gets a boost from the Faith audience that all went to see The Chosen last week, now having more time this weekend to see King of Kings. It gained 137% in its second week of release for $272,000 for a current total of $564,000. Kasari Chapter 2 opens in 9th position, which is a Tamil language movie out of India about C. Sankaran Nair, the lawyer who was working on exposing the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. And rounding out the top 10, The Chosen Last Supper, Part 1, continues with $270,000 after its second week, dropping 64% for a current total of $1.3 million. So quickly checking in on Minecraft and its battle that is now only exclusively head-to-head with Super Mario Bros. Movie from 2023. We can see here, unadjusted for inflation, Minecraft and Super Mario Bros. Have left everything else in the dirt. Minecraft is now at about $43 million, where Super Mario Bros. Ended its run at around $50 million, and there is only those two in that race. Given how close a Minecraft movie is, I would not be surprised if it does beat out Super Mario Bros. Within the next few weeks. That said, if school holidays go back and that's its only audience, then maybe its legs fall off and it really does slow down and doesn't get there, but I'm thinking it's going to get there. Even if we adjust the historical numbers for inflation, there is zero race left for this one, apart from Minecraft versus Super Mario Bros. And we'll take a quick look at the two directors who had opening movies this week, Ryan Coogler with Sinners and Alex Garland with Warfare. Ryan Coogler first, and you can see here, as I said, his lowest opening so far. However, his other 3 previous big movies that released in Australia were Creed, Black Panther, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Big MCU Marvel movies can't be really compared to an independent original story horror/thriller. Creed, it more closely aligns with how much it brought in, but again, it had the Rocky franchise, so it can't be compared too heavily to anything he's done previously, at least over the last few years. Alex Garland, on the other hand, with Warfare, had a bit of an interesting story, where Ex Machina from 2015 only opened in 9 cinemas, and Men only opened in 30. Both brought in very low amounts, but were only in a handful of theatres. Annihilation, on the other hand, in 2018, didn't get an Australian theatrical release because it was scooped up by Netflix and dropped onto the platform with no theatrical release in Australia. Civil War in 2024 opened to just over $1 million, and Warfare in 2025 opened to $590,000, so there's not too too much to see here just yet for this director. He is a great writer. I think he's a better writer than director personally, but I have enjoyed his directorial movies so far. So we'll see how he goes. Quickly looking at what dropped out of the top 10 this week, we had 3 movies drop out. Death of a Unicorn was out after 2 weeks of release. A Working Man was out after 4 weeks of release. And Andre Rieu's latest anniversary event is out after 2 weeks, dropping a whopping 100% this week. And it is gone and it's way down in the bottom of the box office this week, but that's what's out of the top 10 this week. Moving right along to the top 10 for 2025, so everything released this calendar year. Not too many changes. A Minecraft movie stays in top spot with its $43 million. Paddington in Peru holds second with $17.7 million. Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy, continues to hold third with $16.5 million. Captain America Brave New World still holds fourth with $13.8 million. Bit of a gap then to number 5 with A Complete Unknown with $8.5 million. Conclave at number 6 at $8.4 million. Disney's Snow White moves up to 7th position with $8.1 million, which knocks Nosferatu at just over $8 million down a spot, and Nizar 2 at $7.5 million down a spot. We Live in Time, with its Frozen gross, continues to hold 10th spot for now, but we'll see how much that holds, with Dogman right on its heels to maybe knock it off by next week. Upcoming this week for April 24th, theatrically wide, we get The Accountant 2. I really liked the first Accountant, though I didn't think it really needed a sequel, but I am going to go catch it. This one is directed by Gavin O'Connor, who did the first one, and starring Ben Affleck and John Bernthal. We also get Until Dawn, based on the video game movie, from director David F. Sandberg and written by David Doberman and Blair Butler, all well-experienced horror people, starring Ella Rubin, Michael Cimino, and Odessa Azion. We get Pink Floyd at Pompeii, a remastered version of the 1972 film, directed by Adrian Maban. In limited release, we have the National Theatre Live, Doctor Strangelove, with Steve Coogan playing 4 roles, and the 20th anniversary of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Catch those if those float your boat. Across on streaming, April 24th gives us Ash on Amazon Prime, a new movie from director Flying Lotus, starring Eliza Gonzalez and Paul Aaron, about a woman who wakes up on a distant planet and finds the crew of her space station all killed and needs to investigate what caused it. April 25th on Netflix gives us Havoc, a new movie from director Gareth Evans, who I'm extremely excited about a jaded cop who has to find his way through the underworld, starring Tom Hardy, Forrest Whitaker, and Timothy Olyphant. I've enjoyed a lot of Gareth Evans movies in the past, so I will be checking this one out. April 30th, again on Netflix, sees the new series of The Eternaut, a Spanish sci-fi series from director Bruno Stegano, about a toxic snowstorm that has killed everyone and a group of survivors need to work out what to do next. And returning, also on Netflix, for Season 5, on April 24th, You, from creator Greg Berlanti and Sarah Gamble. No relation. Time to take a look at what I watched for this week's Cinechums Movie Challenge. 5 movies for me this week, with the theme of good, best, bad, worst. I also love seeing a bunch of people catching the hidden gem from last week, the map of tiny perfect things, which I discovered as part as a 2020s hidden gem project that will end up here on the channel once it's done. But first up was from 2014 with Jeremy Soliner's Blue Ruin, starring Macon Blair and Devon Rattray. For challenge eligibility, it's about a beach bum trying to kill someone from his past, but he's very bad at it. This was a great one that had been on my list since seeing Rebel Ridge last year and really wanting to check out more of Jeremy Soliner's work. It was a great decision because that was a great little movie. Next up was The Miseducation of Cameron Post from 2018, directed by Desiree Arcfan and starring Chloe Grace Moretz, Sasha Lane, and Forrest Goodluck. For challenge eligibility, it's about a girl who is sent to a gay conversion camp school, and she's a terrible student there, which makes her a good person in a terrible place. It was interesting, as while I'm aware of the religious conversion camps that exist, I've never really dug deeper to see what they are and how they work. Obviously, they are terrible in practice and should be outright banned as far as I'm concerned, but it was interesting to get some insight into how they might play out and why they exist, this movie being set in 1993. Next was a rewatch of Pokemon Detective Pikachu, which I needed something lighter after watching Warfare at cinemas. Directed by Rob Letterman and starring Ryan Reynolds, Justice Smith, and Catherine Newton. For challenge eligibility, what is the opening line of the Pokemon theme? I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. Great movie, really fun, really funny, far more comedic value than you would think. Some great sequences, gags, really well written movie. Love it. Next was one of my longtime radar that Patrick H. Willems announced he was doing a video on, and that is 2008 Speed Racer from the Wachowski sisters, starring Emile Hirsch, Christina Ricci, and John Goodman. For challenge eligibility, Speed Racer obviously wants to be the best. Wild movie, ridiculous and over the top, but I think I could see some similarities with it and Tintin, where the early bad CGI was so over the top. Back then, it would have given a lot of Uncanny Valley vibes, but now, with 10, 20 more years of CGI work and visualizations, it's just kind of cartoony. And it's way more acceptable for the brain to go, oh, okay, this is just wild and over the top and not real. Where back in the original days of Tintin and this one, I think a lot more people would have gone, is it real or is it fake? What's going on here? My brain can't make up its mind. But it was interesting. It was well worth a watch. Wild ride. Lastly was an Irish movie, A Date for Mad Mary from 2016, directed by Darren Thornton and starring Sienna Kerslake and Tara Lee. For challenge eligibility, it's A Date for Mad Mary. I really enjoyed this one. Partial coming of age, partial self-discovery, and partial learning consequences of your actions. While it could have gone deeper on some elements, I overall did quite enjoy it. And I have to give, the two lead performances were phenomenal, but especially Serena Kerslake, being one of those actresses that can portray an entire emotional state, traumatic or otherwise, with nothing but facial expressions. A single facial expression, to be precise, at several points during this movie. Really good watch. I enjoyed it. It did have some slight issues, but I was able to overlook them. And time to take a quick squiz at this week's Cinechums Movie Challenge, week 17, which is directions. So things like Turning Red, or The Runaway Bride, Train to Busan. We've got a bunch of keywords we can use, like up, down, left, right, back, forward, up, over, below, edge, all fun stuff there that makes it pretty easy to come up with a shortlist. Some of the examples they've used there is as above, so below, across the universe, clockwise, come and see, get out, leave the world behind. That was one of my favorites from a couple of years ago. Cross the Spider-Verse. So we've got a few examples there. Let's take a look at my shortlist. For my weekly challenge shortlist, I've got things like Return to Seoul, Blade Runner 2049, a rewatch of that would be good. Beyond the Black Rainbow, The Edge of 17, Signature Move, The World to Come, Quick Change. So we've got a few examples there. We'll see how we go. That is it for me this week. Tune in again next week where we'll be looking at the box office launch of The Accountant 2, the biggest movie probably releasing this week, as well as the latest video game adaptation, Until Dawn. I will be catching The Accountant 2, and I'm probably going to try and catch Sinners as well. So that will be my weekend. We have another long weekend here in Australia with Anzac Day weekend. Whether that impacts box office reporting, I'm not sure. We'll soon find out. But I'm going to do that, and I'll probably be continuing on to work on my physical setup, so my camera and lighting and stuff, all that work. I've been doing some construction right behind where I'm going to be standing, so that's just taking a little bit longer than I planned, but that's okay. Anyway, that's it for me this week. Have a good one, and I'll see you later. Bye!